Yo, what's up? It's Ritzy Roy here. Last two videos were about laning, and the next one was about how to spend your gold. This one is going to be a little more zoomed out. We're going to talk about how to pick a character, specifically how to narrow down your search for a main. It's really hard to find a main in this game. I'm still kind of on a search myself. I've been in the main crisis for a while. I'm getting comfortable with Ezreal and Smolder, but you know, I might not play them forever. It just depends on what goes on. But it's hard to find a main in this game because there's about almost 200 characters in the game, but there's ways you can make it easier for yourself if you're just starting out and you have no clue to play. There's 5 roles in the game, and each role there's typically going to be a certain kind of character that goes to the role, and there's going to be a certain thing you do, which if I show you what you do in a role and the people you play there, it might help you figure out what you want to do and how you want to approach the game. First role, because we're right here, let's just go over it. This is going to be top lane. I'm going to speed the game up because I want to make this a quick one. This is going to be top lane. Top lane is your 1v1 island. People call it that because typically you're the furthest from objectives. Your jungler might not always come to you, and the other roles that like to move around the map don't typically come top lane a lot. So you're going to be stuck in a 1v1 with one guy for about 15 to 20 minutes. And typically you take fighters, bruisers, like I guess really brawly champions to the top lane, people that are just really good at 1v1ing, and most of the people that come up here are good at stat checking people and are also incredibly good with a lead. They're very snowbally. So one of the, I guess, pros and cons of top lane is that once one person starts winning up here, they start winning really hard and they start winning for a long time. So if you go top lane, you can kick someone's ass really hard for about 20 to 30 minutes, or you can get your ass kicked really hard for 20 to 30 minutes. There's a lot of really specific matchup nuance here, and there's a huge focus on wave management. We went over that in the other video. Wave management's more important up here because most people you take to top lane are going to be melees like Garen or Mordekaiser. Speaking of Garen and Mordekaiser, those are actually going to be the 2 top laners I recommend you play because they're both really easy. They're good bruisers with solid matchup charts, and they're simplistic. They're amongst the easier ones to play. Mordekaiser, you basically just auto attack them to death. You bonk them on their head with Q, and you can pull them in with E, and then your R will force whoever you're fighting into a 1v1. Garen's kind of similar to Mordekaiser, except he's AD. You press your Q for a movement speed buff. That Q gives you an empowered auto attack that'll silence people. Your E is just a Crash Bandicoot Spinaroonie that does a lot of damage. And then your R is just a big beam of true damage that you just drop on people's noggins. So he's a pretty good character to start on top lane. I don't 100% recommend top lane because it's very easy if you're fighting someone that's a little more, that knows more about the game, to just fall behind. It's easy to fall behind and get snowballed on in top lane, so it's not always going to be the funnest experience if you're new to the game. You might be getting destroyed for a long time before you actually start winning in top lane. But you can, don't let me tell you now, if you want to start in top lane, go for it. If you want to play your bruisers, that's probably where you're going to go. You're probably going to go top lane to play them. Next is jungle. Pretty good for us because the character I'm on right now, Briar, is a native jungler. She's supposed to go to jungle, but some people take her to top lane. Jungle is unique from the other roles because we're not going to be going to either of these 3 lanes. We're going to go to these jungle quadrants where the monsters spawn. Imagine Pokemon, maybe Earthbound, Undertale, Fallout, like old RPGs where you go and fight enemies and you kill the enemies to get your XP and gold. That's how jungle is. You don't do this weird MOBA thing where we have to like fight minions in a wave. We just go to jungle and we fight these guys. We fight the monsters, we get our XP, and we level up. So it can be kind of appealing for that reason, but one of the weaknesses, or I guess caveats to playing jungle, is the fact that since you're technically fighting monsters and not minions, they're not designated red and blue. Anyone can take the monsters from your jungle. Anyone on your team could come and steal them, or anyone on the enemy team. Usually it will be the enemy jungler you gotta worry about coming to your jungle and stealing stuff. Your jungle and stealing stuff. But that's just one of the things that comes with jungles. A big benefit to playing jungle is since you're not bound to a lane, you're doing these quadrants, you have the ability to do something called a gank. It's basically where, like, after you finish your clears or you finish killing the monsters you want, you could come to someone's lane and influence what's going on. let's pretend right now this is a Twisted Fate and this is a Yasuo. This Yasuo is beating up our Twisted Fate and he has him pushed under the tower. If this guy is pushed past the river and he doesn't have his flash up, it's not a bad idea to like low-key stop what you're doing and maybe go for the gank, because you could potentially kill this guy and give your Twisted Fate a lead. So jungle has the ability to either flip losing lanes around or go to a lane that's already winning and make them even stronger. So it's one of the upsides to jungle. Next thing is you got Smite. This is a jungle specific summoner spell. It does true damage to whatever you're fighting. It only does 40 true damage to champion old things like pets and stuff, but for NPCs like minions, monsters, objectives, or the Scuttlebug thing right here, I think he counts as a monster, it'll do a lot more true damage. Smite levels up as you kill more monsters with it, but at the start of the game, Smite's going to do about 600 damage. So we'll fight the Scuttlebug real quick. Munch on him with Briar. And if you smite him when he's around 600 HP, he just explodes and instantly dies. So that's what Smite does. You usually will be using your Smite to either clear your camps faster or do these things. These are objectives. They're like your camps, except they're really big and are typically kind of hard to 1v1. Even though we're in 2xp, you notice killing this dragon is a lot more dangerous than doing my jungle, because he could potentially finish me off if I'm not careful. Imagine a mini boss or like a boss fight in like an RPG. Like this is your raid boss or something like that. You know, you get the idea. Usually, the Drake is a gathering point for all the lanes. Your mid lane's probably gonna want to come to it. Your bot and support are gonna rotate to it. This is a team fight that's gonna happen. If you get the Drakes, you secure game-long buffs that stack for your team. So if you can secure a bunch of objectives, you can just give your entire team a really big lead. For that reason, between the objectives and the fact that you can win people's lanes, jungle is probably one of the hardest carry roles in the game. But it's also really easy to get messed up by people that are better than you at jungle, because it has an incredibly high skill floor and a very high skill ceiling. Like I mentioned earlier, your camps can be stolen by anyone, which that plays perfectly into one of the strategies in the game called invading. Sometimes the enemy jungler or you can go to the opposite side's jungle and steal their stuff. Well, there's two things you can do. Let's say there's a guy coming here to get blue buff, and I'm hiding in his bush. Imagine we're at full HP and this guy isn't at full HP because let's say he was messing up his clear and he was getting hit by his camps. If he didn't know I was here, there's two things I could do. I could either jump scare him and kill him, or if he runs away from me because I call him off guard, I could just take his stuff and he'll be forced to run away. The counterplay to this is there's a lot of nuance to it. Sometimes your mid laner might come to help you out. Right now, our TF is currently under tower getting pushed by Yasuo, so he doesn't have prio. Just imagine that. Or sometimes your support can come to it. Or other situations are like literally the character that's invading you just isn't as good at 1v1ing as you, so you honestly might just be able to kill the bozo that's in your jungle taking your stuff. It just kind of just depends on the scenario. If it's happening to you, again, you wait for your mid lane or your support. If you could win it, maybe you 1v1 them. If you expect it, you can maybe change your pathing to deal with it. Or sometimes you just gotta understand that this red buff isn't worth your life. It's when Graves comes to your jungle and you're something like Evelynn and he throws that smoke bomb in your face, it might be a good idea to just run away and let him get the red buff, because he might just kill you. Sadly. That's just one of the weaknesses to jungle, I would say. One of the reasons why I don't 100% recommend it, because it's easy for good players to really take advantage if you don't know what you're doing. Last bit of jungle before you move to mid lane is that you saw me killing the monsters earlier. This is called your jungle clear. As you get better at jungle, you can perfect this clear and kill your monsters faster. This matters because when you clear, this opens up an opportunity to either gank or show up to an objective or do something. This is called your tempo, and your tempo is directly usually affected by your clear speed. So junglers who are more experienced are going to clear really quick, and they're going to show up to things really quick. That can lead to a snowballing lead that can mess you up later. So if you're going to start in jungle, I strongly recommend watching clearing guides and practicing your jungler's clear, because every character clears different from one another. Briar is one of the easier clears in the game because when you press W, she low-key just plays herself. So she ain't a bad jungler to start the game off with. Either Briar or like Diana, someone like that. Okay, that was jungle. Let's head on over to mid lane. I gotta reset my game. How do I reset? Because I want to just do the mid lane quest. Alright, we're gonna head on over to mid lane. In mid lane, typically the characters that go here are going to be either mages or assassins because multiple reasons. This lane is very short, so it's very short and it's also in the middle of everything. If you're playing someone with really good wave clear, what you can do in mid lane is you can shove out your wave and then you can do roaming. This is one of the best attributes to mid lane, is that very similar to jungle, you can leave where you're at and then go show up to other things and influence the game state. Mid lane and jungle are typically going to be, I guess, in cahoots with one another. They're kind of a duo. They're similar to the bot lane and support duo, except it's a little bit different because your support's farming and stuff like that, but you're going to be cooperating and working with your jungler. Mid and jungle are the two, I guess, team play cooperative roles. They're very different from jungle, and how jungle is just kind of the 1v1. You don't need your team. You power scale, and then you just come bot and stat check everyone. Mid is going to be where you take your control mages, your team fighters, your assassins, you push out your waves, and then we're going to be the people that show up to the Drake fights, that gank the bot lanes and stuff like that. Typically, you're going to be ganking bot lane a lot because bot lane is where all the money's at. There's 2 people down here, so there's twice the amount of gold, and the people that go bot are ADCs, so they're easy to kill. So if you're looking for an easy roam to get back into the game or to get a lead, yeah, you can roam bot and look to kill the ADC. That's a common mid lane strategy, and there's nothing wrong with it. Good mid lane characters to start out with would be people like Ahri, Twisted Fate, Naafiri, Fizz, Akali, and Syndra. Those, if you can look in those characters in the game, they all are just pretty, they're not too hard, not too easy. They'll take you relatively far, and they're pretty solid in the meta right now. So look to play those characters, I'd say, just for starting. All right, next we got bot lane. At the moment, this is technically my main role, but it's not my most played role. I just recently swapped to it. ADC or bot lane is going to be where your glass cannon marksman will go. Their characters are really good at doing damage at mid-range, but are typically squishy and easy to kill. Most of the characters that go here are going to be kind of mechanically hard because we can't do it too much on Briar, but you'll have to learn this mechanic called kiting, where you're gonna have to attack and move really fast. Characters like Briar that are melee, it's not as hard for them, but someone like Jinx, who has like a really big attack range and she's really squishy, it's super important that Jinx can play her space and like shoot you while moving back and moving around. Because remember, ADCs are gonna be fighting bruisers and assassins and stuff, people that if they get their hands on them, they'll do bad things to them. So you got to keep your range. You got to mind your space. You will also, in ADC, you're not in a 1v1. You will, at the start of the game, let's clear this guy. It's a little distracting. At the start of the game, you will have your support that comes with you. When we go over support, I'll talk about the major types of support you'll have, but typically you'll have your little helper that starts the game off with you. They have a quest that's basically based around making sure you're strong. Bot is kind of like, I guess, baby mid, and support's kind of like sort of like baby jungler. Like imagine mid lane, but you have your own jungler that's just always in your lane. Macroly speaking, bot is it's stupidly easy. It's mentally the easiest role in the entire game. All you do in bot is you come bot, you fight hard, you farm hard, you play your lane well, and you just wait for people to come to you. You're not typically roaming a lot on bot lane, which is kind of one of the nice things about it. Mechanically, like I mentioned earlier, it's actually a pretty hard role. There's a lot of kiting and stuff you gotta learn on it, but that can be ironed out with practice, and there's certain characters you can play that don't have to. There's certain characters you can play that have an easier time kiting than others. Miss Fortune is like the main one I'd probably recommend if kiting is kind of an issue for you, because she doesn't have to attack as fast as other ADCs. Either Miss Fortune or like maybe Smolder. Their kiting mechanics are a lot more forgiving than someone like Jinx or Kog'Maw. Well, that's pretty much ADC. You're glass cannon, really mechanically hard. You're not really good in 1v1s, but you can hard carry 5v5s because you do crazy damage from mid range, and everyone's gonna want to kill you because you're squishy and you're typically worth a lot of money. They should want to kill you though because you do a lot of damage and you can carry team fights if no one contests you. Okay. Right off the bat, support's gonna be the role I recommend the most because we don't get our gold from killing monsters or killing minions. We actually get our gold from World Atlas. It's an item. You see where my cursor is? It's going to be an item in your inventory that will generate gold for you as you play. This thing is a godsend because if you die, you fall behind, or you're not getting a lot of kills or fragging out, World Atlas will just give you the gold. So you don't gotta worry about last hitting. You don't gotta worry about people coming to your jungle and killing you. And for the most part, you'll always be relevant in the game. You can always play the game no matter what the game state is, which is really fun. Your character will always work. It's not like top lane where if you make one mistake at 3 minutes in, you're not going to be able to play the game. You're just going to be sitting on your tower getting your butt kicked for like the next 40 minutes or whatever. In support, there's 4 major kinds of characters. It's really cool because I guess like the 4 like archetypes in support are echoes of the other lanes. If you want to like eventually transition to top lane, but you want to start out with support because it's easy, you can actually play characters like Poppy, Pantheon, Tahm Kench, Nautilus. You can play fighter like champions in the support category that play like the top laners, but you're in a lower risk environment. If you want to eventually maybe play mid lane, you can start out playing your poke mages like Lux, Seraphine, Zyra, Vel'Koz. Like you can play literal poke mages in support and have it be viable and still help your team out. If you're trying to switch to ADC, there's not too many options for that, but I'd say Senna is probably going to be your go-to because she uses kiting mechanics like an ADC, but she's technically an enchanter. Either Senna or maybe Sona, because the way she gives her buffs is similar to an ADC. You actually have to walk up and auto attack people. If you want to play jungle, I'd recommend Pyke or Bard. They both basically benefit from roaming around the map a lot, but Bard in particular because he has a unique gimmick where instead of killing monsters, little chimes will randomly just spawn around the map, and as you pick up those chimes, you'll get XP. So he's super incentivized to just leave his lane, to adventure far and wide, and just go influence other people's lanes around the map like a jungler would. So he's a good idea to play if you're trying to get just a little taste of jungle without actually, dealing with the stuff I mentioned earlier. All in all, I highly recommend starting with support and then branching out to another role, but you don't have to. If you're not going to start support, then bot lane's the second easiest role probably to start out with because there's mechanically easy characters like Miss Fortune you can play to alleviate the mechanical difficulty. Mid lane's intermediate. It's not stupidly hard to start with, but it's not the easiest because there are some hard characters to fight here. Jungle and top are low-key the nightmare roles to start with. You can start with them, but they're not easy. Top lane, you can get snowballs really hard, and jungle, it's the clear speed, it's macroly kind of difficult, and if the guy you're fighting is better than you, it's really going to show. I hope this helps you out with picking a main. Look in the roles and try and figure out what you're gonna do from what you're doing in the role. You don't have to stick to one role forever. I basically am a support player that just recently decided to play ADC, but I'm enjoying it so far. But I don't have to play this forever. I can eventually switch to mid. I was thinking about switching to mid one day. So just experiment, have fun, and good luck in your matches. This is Ritzy Roy signing out.